The letter looks official. It arrives in an envelope from the Social Security Administration, and when you open it, the number inside stops your heart. The SSA is telling you that you were overpaid, sometimes by $5,000, sometimes by $14,000, sometimes more, and they want the money back, often within 30 days. Most seniors who receive this letter do one of two things. They panic and write a check they cannot afford, or they set the letter aside because they do not know what to do, and then they watch half of their Social Security check disappear the following month without warning. Both of those responses can cost you everything, because there is a third option that SSA does not call you to explain. You have legal rights. You have forms you can file. You have deadlines that, if you meet them, can stop the withholding entirely while your case is reviewed. And in a significant number of cases, you can have the entire debt waived and pay back nothing at all.
If you were born before 1966 and you received one of these letters, or if you are worried you might, this video will tell you exactly what your rights are. What changed in 2025 and 2026 that makes this more urgent than ever, and what to do in the next 30 days. Subscribe to Nami Finance USA and turn on the bill notification, because when SSA policy changes and your check is on the line, you deserve to know before it happens. Let's start with what is actually happening, because the situation in 2026 is more complicated than most people realize, and the rules change dramatically in a very short period of time.
Overpayments happen when SSA pays you more than you were entitled to receive. Sometimes it is your fault. You failed to report a change in your income, your marital status, or where you live, and your benefit was not adjusted. But in many cases, it is SSA's fault entirely. A calculation error, a record that was never updated, a data mismatch between SSA and the IRS. According to the SSA's own Inspector General, the agency's automated systems could not compute benefit payments correctly in certain situations, and employees making manual calculations made errors. The SSA itself acknowledged it paid out $23 billion in overpayments across fiscal years 2015 through 2023, and it is now actively trying to recover all of it. Here is what changed that makes the current moment so dangerous for seniors. Under the Biden administration, in March 2024, the default withholding rate for overpayments was capped at 10% of your monthly benefit. That was the government acknowledging that taking a person's entire check to recover a debt was causing homelessness and forcing seniors to choose between food and medicine. In March 2025, the Trump administration reversed that. Acting Commissioner Lee Dudick announced that the default withholding rate was being restored to 100%, meaning if you received an overpayment notice and did nothing, SSA would take your entire monthly check until the debt was repaid. The public outcry was immediate. Advocacy groups, lawmakers, and senior organizations called the policy cruel and devastating. 1 month later, on April 25, 2025, SSA issued what it called an emergency message, quietly walking back the 100% rate. The new default withholding rate, as of April 25, 2025, is 50% of your monthly Title II benefit, meaning retirement, survivor, and SSDI payments.
What you need to say, even at 50%, if you're relying on your benefits to pay your rent or your mortgage and buy food, losing half of that income is going to be devastating and can still result in people becoming homeless. And here is what makes this especially unfair for people on a fixed income. In most cases, it was not the beneficiary's fault that they were overpaid. Richard Fiesta, executive director of the Alliance for Retired Americans, said they shouldn't be put in a worse situation because of something they never caused in the first place. If you receive SSI, supplemental security income, the withholding rate remains capped at 10%. The 50% rate applies only to Title II benefits, which is your regular Social Security retirement, survivor, or disability check.
An official letter from the Social Security Administration arrives. It says you've been overpaid and they want the money back. That news can cause immediate panic. But before you worry, you need to understand your rights and one critical deadline. The moment you receive an overpayment notice, the single most important thing you can do is act within 30 days of the date on that letter. You have 3 distinct options. You can appeal the decision if you believe it's wrong. You can request a waiver if the overpayment wasn't your fault and you can't afford to pay it back, or you can agree to a repayment plan. Filing any of these responses within that 30-day window legally requires the SSA to stop all withholding until they make a decision on your case.
That protection is written directly into their policy. If you wait until day 31, the withholding begins automatically, and recovering money already taken is far harder than preventing it from starting.
First option is to appeal the decision entirely. You do this when you believe SSA is wrong, either that you were not actually overpaid or that the amount they are claiming is incorrect. The appeal form is called Form SSA 561, Request for Reconsideration. You can download it at ssa.gov/forms/ssa561.pdf. You can file it online through your My Social Security account at ssa.gov/myaccount, or you can bring it to your local SSA field office in person. The deadline to appeal is 65 days from the date on the letter, but file within 30 days and the withholding stops while SSA reviews your case. SSA staffing shortages in 2026 have led to clerical errors in overpayment calculations, so do not assume the number on the letter is correct. Pull your own records, tax returns, pay stubs, bank statements, and compare them against what SSA claims you received.
Your second option is to request a waiver. This is the option most seniors never hear about, and it is the one that can result in you paying back nothing at all. A waiver says, even if I was overpaid, I should not have to pay it back. To qualify, you need to show two things: that the overpayment was not your fault, and that repaying it would cause you financial hardship or would simply be unfair given your circumstances. The waiver form is Form SSA 632, Request for Waiver of Overpayment Recovery. You download it at ssa.gov/forms/ssa632.pdf or request it from your local SSA office. There is no deadline to file a waiver. You can file it at any time, even after withholding has already begun. However, filing it within 30 days of the original letter stops the withholding while SSA processes your request.
Here is something important about the waiver that almost nobody knows. SSA now routinely waives overpayments of less than $2,000. If your overpayment letter says you owe less than that, you can request what is called an administrative waiver simply by calling 1-800-772-1213 or visiting your local office. You do not even need to fill out the SSA 632 form. Just ask for an administrative waiver and provide a brief explanation. It is the fastest path to resolution for smaller amounts. Your third option is to negotiate the repayment rate. If you agree the overpayment is valid and you want to pay it back, but you cannot afford 50% of your monthly check, you can request a lower withholding rate using Form SSA 634, Request for Change in Overpayment Recovery Rate. The SSA will generally approve a rate that allows repayment within 60 months, and in cases of genuine hardship, they will consider repayment amounts as low as $10 per month. You do not have to accept a repayment plan that...
There is one more protection worth knowing about, and it is one that can end the collection process entirely if the overpayment is old enough. Under the Social Security Act, there is a legal concept called administrative finality. For Title II benefits, retirement, survivors, and SSDI, SSA generally cannot reopen a payment decision more than 4 years after it was made, unless there was fraud or an error you caused. For SSI, the window is 2 years. If SSA is trying to collect an overpayment that stems from a decision made more than 4 years ago and you did not cause the error, you have grounds to challenge whether they have the legal authority to collect at all. This is a case-specific argument, and it is worth discussing with a legal aid attorney before making it, but it exists and it has worked.
For free legal help with a Social Security overpayment, contact your local legal aid organization. Every state has at least one, and most provide free assistance to seniors on fixed incomes. You can find your nearest legal aid office by calling 1-800-772-1213 and asking SSA to refer you, or by visiting lawhelp.org. One more thing, and this matters more than it might seem. Never rely on a phone call to the 1-800 number to document your response. Send every form via certified mail with return receipt, or upload it directly through your My Social Security account at ssa.gov if the option is available. Lost paperwork is the primary reason appeals and waivers fail. A certified mail receipt is your proof that you acted within the deadline. Without it, you are taking SSA's word that they received your response, and in a period of significant staffing cuts and administrative disruption, that is a risk you do not need to take.
SSA is actively recovering $23 billion in overpayments from fiscal years 2015 through 2023, and the letters are going out now.
As of April 25, 2025, the default withholding rate for retirement, survivor, and SSDI benefits is 50% of your monthly check. For SSI, it remains 10%. If you receive one of these letters, do not panic and do not pay immediately. You have rights and you have time, but only if you act within 30 days. File Form SSA 561 to appeal if you believe the overpayment amount is wrong. File Form SSA 632 to request a waiver if you were not at fault and cannot afford to repay. If you owe less than $2,000, call 1-800-772-1213 and ask for an administrative waiver, no form required. If you agree with the debt but cannot afford 50%, file Form SSA 634 to negotiate a lower monthly repayment rate, and send everything by certified mail or upload through ssa.gov/myaccount so you have proof you acted in time. Most people who lose money to these clawbacks lose it not because they had no options, but because they did not know those options existed. Now you do.